how exciting is this? We're going to be staging the world premiere of Evie later on with you two. Dom, of course, you're a big sort of like favourite with the FrightFesters. Jamie, we don't know who you are, but I'm sure that will change very soon.
Yeah.
And you're bringing along Holly Dempsey, Jay Taylor, and Michael Smiley.
Oh, your memory's fantastic.
Oh, come on.
Amazing.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional, Dominic. No, but let's talk Selkies, because this is a myth and a sort of like a fairy tale creature that very, very rarely ever gets given cinematic treatment. I could name like one off the top of my head, which is The Secret of Rowan Inish.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, how did this all come about? Tell me about the story.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So Dom and I met on a one of your short films, wasn't it?
The Box,
Called The Box, which was directed by Sean Harrison.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was invited along to have a little look and a watch in Media City. I think you screened it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Dom and I just got talking that night, and he found out that I was a photographer. So we got chatting, and he sort of said, you know, I'm doing this film, Adult Babies, and would you like to shoot the front cover or do behind the scenes photography for it? And I was like, Adult Babies, okay. So went along with it, and then we got chatting from there, really, didn't we? And I'd, about 7 years ago, was really poorly. I had really bad depression. I was an alcoholic, so I'm now in my 7th year of recovery. And in that recovery period, one of my safe places was the place where we shot Evie. So I wrote the story, the original story, of, you know, sort of a creature coming from the sea that was, you know, your demon through life, that followed you through life, putting, you know, a mental health, you know, slant on the film as well. And it was, you know, essentially, you know, about a little girl that grows up and has this demon that follows her through life. And then as we evolved it, I sort of invited a couple of script writers before Dom to help me, you know, get a script or a screenplay done. And they just, you know, didn't get a grasp of what I was after, of the message. Dom had then come off Adult Babies, and I approached him and said, would you like to get involved and help me write this story and co-direct it with me? And he said, yeah. So we had a concept of the creature coming from the sea, and then it was actually Dom who introduced me to the Selkie. And then we went from there, really. We started designing the creature.
Sean Harrison, as you mentioned before.
Yeah. Sean Harrison. He worked on Harry Potter and the X-Men, Star Wars, everything. He's done amazing stuff.
Yeah, and the Selkie came from the sea, so it made sense because my family home that we shot it at is by the sea. And we wrote it all around sort of that area. But the original story was wrote around that area anyway. Okay. So the film just lent itself very naturally to its surroundings. And then, I asked Dom to sort of get that. I think you did it over about 8 weeks, didn't you? Yeah. The screenplay, which was fabulous.
And what did you add then, Dom? Did you take Jamie's sort of like... what did you add?
What was really important to Jamie was the allegory of the demon and the alcoholism, but without shouting it, you know, and saying...
Underlining message.
Yeah, right. Like
yeah.
So it's putting it in neon on the top.
Yeah, that's it. So just being cleverer with the exposition like that. And then just using the false memory central story of building it around that, really, and just being... just using what was there, and I like allegorical stories anyway. I really love the way that...
But to be honest, when you watch the movie, people do know, don't they, that she's who she is. I mean, they're just pretending that they don't really, in a way. Am I getting that right?
What's that?
Well, you know, the fact that, you know, you know that it's her.
No, I don't think, because... Did you get that? Did you? Right.
I thought that everyone was sort of couching it in a way. You know, they're going up to her and going, they're saying, you could see there was a bit of hint of suspicion in what they were saying. So I assumed that they were expecting that. Yeah. You know. But then that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, what runs through it is that she's in danger from the brother, or she's in danger from Father Robert, or are we rooting for her, or is she it, or and what is the demon and what is it to her, and is it real or is it really her?
Well, I mean, you mentioned your, where you wrote them. I mean, I said to Dom, I said, my God, that place is fab.
Yeah.
I mean, a really lovely
it's
place.
Yeah.
I mean, to have it like that. Yeah. And I mean, so you've got a great location.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, round the corner from the farmhouse and was National Trust. And we were just saying before that we had to get all the licenses, get everything sorted. Can we use it for the day? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Got there and they said, right, that's £350 an hour for the 2 days. And we were like, well, we can't use it then. Really, thanks very much for your time. Could have known that sooner, but, obviously it didn't work out. And then 2 days later, we got another email saying, £50 a day then, go on.
Oh,
like,
what happened?
How did that happen? Why didn't you say that at the beginning? I think you just try it, don't we?
Great cast. I mean, but Holly, I mean, she nails it.
Yeah, really? She does. Yeah, Jay as well. The fact is, we'd audition. So Michael Smiley was already attached, which meant that then we could knock on people's doors, and they all go, "Well, who's in it? A horror film, right? Who's in it?" And you go, "Michael Smiley," and you go, "Can we just get back to him? We've got some names." Everybody did that. It was just opened up all these doors, really. Yeah. And then auditioning, we got lots and lots and lots of self-tapes by. But then you edited Holly and Jay together. Yeah. Taking out the partners that were reading their parts and put them aside, and you were just like, no one else can be cast in this film. Please do this film, And Holly was still a bit like, I really, really want to do it, but I'm not sure about the violent side of it. She had a bit of a thing about being involved in that, but she sort of, thankfully, she came around and said, yeah, I'm doing it. So.
And of course, Joe's in it as well, your wife, Dom. So I mean, and she again, that's a great scene. I think the whole opening on the beach. And the only thing I said to her, I said, it looks like you're all freezing to death.
They were.
Yeah, it was cold. Well, it's the two kids are Honey, who's incredible, and Danny, because of the COVID situation, we had to use just people that were with the immediate family. And try and keep everybody together. So even in the church, that's the casting, that's the crew, and any cast that aren't being used with their heads away from that. Yeah. But Honey, it's just a revelation.
The kids were really inspiring. I think that kick-started the standard of the film really, for the next, for filming week 2 and week 3. They were up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Honey was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, hair done straight into makeup. It was the first time she'd ever acted anything. I'd seen her do one small school play, and I thought, oh, this girl can act, But it was a big risk for us. I mean, Dom came round to the house, and we did some bits and bobs with her with the script, and she seemed really competent with it, and thought, well, let's give it a go then. And she absolutely nailed it, but she did it so professionally, and she inspired the whole crew. So none of the crew were moaning that it was raining, and they were carrying all the equipment up and down the cliff.
Nobody dared complain at all, because the two kids were there shaking in their boots and being brilliant.
Kids were in and out of the sea in October time. It was freezing. It was freezing, and it was raining all the time. And every time we said action, they nailed it. They did a really, really good job. So it sort of made our life a little bit easier. We were concentrating on then getting the cinematic look of the film using these anamorphic lenses, the primes, and.
Well, it's a success from that point of view. I think it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, it's got a sort of an epic look, but sort of with a sort of like a very emotional, miniature story. And I think that's really quite good.
Yeah, it was funny because looking at films to emulate, we didn't really want to go for the horror. Apart from Calm with Horses was a blueprint, but also Ryan's Daughter. We're just watching that and seeing, how do you make this thing? Yeah, same. I'm watching. It's 3 hours long. It feels like 5 minutes.
I can see that.
Yeah. So that was very early on. That's when we sat and watched that. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I mean, the nuts and bolts technicality of it. I mean, it was horrible. You had 3 weeks, did you say, to do it?
Yeah. So, well, more than that, it was like we stretched the week, so we'd have like 2 days at the beginning and then turn it into a 6-day week. So it was, but the only problem is it was like doing 2 films, because we had one bit in September, October for that week, and then stopped until we did the adult side of it when all the kids had grown up into adults, and did that in the February, which you kind of think that's 2 half of films, but really it was organised in 2 separate films. It was an enormous job, really, but there was no other way of doing it,
Yeah. Right.
With COVID shutting everything down, it's terrifying.
I hate asking people the lockdown, because it's become such a cliche in this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose, no, because it was so remote where you were filming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was so remote, but I think what we realised with doing it in the middle of the pandemic was that people were so happy to see people. So when we filled hotels full of cast and crew. We had, you know, people crying because they'd literally, their livelihoods had been taken away for so long.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they were doing what they're good at and doing the jobs again. So I was very proud of the fact that, you know, we brought a lot of that comfort to people as well throughout the filming. Like the gentleman in Liverpool as well with the hotel. And
yeah, he was crying at the end of the day, yeah. And the people that in the little cottages that we had as well.
So it made a big difference from that point of view as well, which was, that was fantastic, wasn't it, to see that.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But we had no COVID cases. You know,
kept testing.
COVID officers.
Got to get the PCR test, and then was just thinking, I mean, part of you thinks, if anybody's positive, I'm going to go to the cash point, I'm going to pass him 250 quid and say, don't say anything. But you just can't, you know, we've just been very, very, very careful about things. Yeah,
well, look, the film works. I mean, you know, Dom, I've always been very honest with you.
Yeah, brutally. Well, I know, Attack of the Adult Baby, you just went on and on like that.
What a difference. I mean, the thing is, I mean, you know, for me, that's going to always be the aberration in the Dom Brunt CV.
But there is a film in the world called Attack of the Adult Babies that I made.
No, but listen, you had to do it, and I get it, and I understand why you did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, and people did have a laugh with it.
Yeah, it's sold.
But
Trauma and
this is now back to, I think, what you know, you actually do best, frankly, which is, you know, like the more serious side. I mean, you know, Before Dawn was great, Bait was fantastic.
And just trying to play stories which is the extraordinary in an ordinary situation. And Jamie had given me the chance to bring on that project and say, I was like, I know what I'm doing with this, you know. Yeah. So it was, very, very
any sort of little anecdotes you can say about the filming? I mean, apart, you know, anything go horribly wrong, go horribly well?
I don't
think anything went horribly wrong.
It was the scheduling, which I've always been very hot on, was nailed shut. So it was very much, we start in the morning, we race through and get that done and get it finished. So it was very, very regimented. It was sticking to camera plans.
Is that because of your Emmerdale schedule? Did it have to
I think it probably is, yeah. You very rarely get to the end of the day without doing it. But there's no option, was there? There was no other pick-up day. There was no, you know, if you knock on anything onto that,
we couldn't knock onto it, because we were in different locations and have different things booked and different actors coming in. So we had to finish on certain days because, say, Michael Smiley was arriving the next day. And, but you know, this gentleman dragged me all the way through that film in a great way. I was learning, you know, from a whole film point of view, being a director, being a producer, and I said to Dom, you know, I'm not going to do this film on my own. It's going to happen, and I want somebody to co-direct it with. And he just grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, and away we went. What we got done in 3 weeks was phenomenal.
I didn't quite believe it. I didn't believe that we'd really got Michael Smiley as well, I don't think, till the day. I kept thinking, there's no way. And I had somebody else in my back pocket thinking, I'm going to ring him if he doesn't. And he just came bounding through the door telling dirty jokes, and you're like, we got Michael Smiley. He was such...
And as you said, Sean Harrison did the design of the Scullion. Did you go through a lot of those? I mean, did
Jamie was very much part of the design.
Yeah, there was one or two. We had a gentleman in America design one first, and then we ended up going to Sean Harrison. I went over to see Sean quite a bit. It was actually my fiancée, Mel, who's the Selkie. She's inside the suit.
Oh, right, okay, that's good to know.
So 4 hours of hair and makeup. She wasn't impressed with me.
I'm submerged, I suppose.
Well, she just has to sit there, and it goes colder and colder and colder, you see. Latex.
Talking about cold, I'll tell you one of the stories is the York. We had a whole day of underwater shooting, it was -5 the night before. And we didn't know. They said there's no temperature control in this. This is ambient temperature. So there's got bubbles flying through so it doesn't freeze or anything like that. So, and they had 2 scuba divers underneath with GoPros trying to get everything right, 4K GoPros trying to capture the thing. I think there must be like 2 seconds within the film in the end because you couldn't get in the water. Nobody could get in the water. It's just too cold. And in the end, because you're a very strong stroke swimmer and you tried,
body just shuts down. It's that cold, you just shut down. You just
terrible.
Couldn't get it. So we got
one shot. No matter what the trials and tribulations, it's turned out extremely well.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what the audience makes of it tonight because it is going to be the first one.
I'm particularly pleased with it because it leaves a lot to the imagination, I think, and I think the imagination is the most powerful tool that you can have. And I think all the way through, people are trying to figure out what's going on, and I think Dom's written it in a way that, you know, the audience is not allowed into the actors. The actors do it really well. Everything's always standoffish. You don't really know. You can't get into the character of the actors properly until, you know, the very end. And I think that whole run up to the boat scene at the end, where you'll see Jay unleash I think the audience all feel like that and want to unleash, and then it, you know, from that point, you did write it sort of always standoffish.
Yeah, I didn't want to insult the audience, and I know that the audience here are very intelligent, and you can show the schlock horror, but also the people come out and so you cannot So it really
we
was.
have to remember the audience was intelligent. And let them use their imagination to what's going on, and
drip feed information to keep them going as well. So being ambiguous, but without being too boring with it, and just constantly dripping them, so they go, I think it's that, I think it's that, and then reveal your hand at the end. Ta-da! So hopefully that's.
Well, it's going to look fantastic on the massive screen.
Oh yeah. I've been watching films on that this week.
It's incredible. So it's all going to be good. So listen, guys, thanks a lot for letting us have it as well. I mean, it's always good. We've always supported Dom, and I'm really glad that we were allowed to be able to do this with you